Today we're going to discuss more skill development strategies, and today we're going to be focused on reducing drag, which is one of the most challenging skills to improve in swimming, and we're going to be doing so by wearing shorts. So the bottom line, to swim fast, swimmers need to reduce drag and increase propulsion. And the majority of skill development education and the skill development practice is focused on creating more propulsion. So stuff like feel for the water, trying to improve your pull, anything like that is geared towards improving propulsion, and that's the focus of most skill development interventions. And the problem is that drag reduction is actually the most efficient way to improve swimming performance. And so if you improve someone's propulsion, in order to do that, they need more energy, they need more fitness to make that happen. In contrast, if someone can learn to reduce drag, it doesn't take any extra energy to do so. And in fact, swimmers can save energy because they can swim at the same speed with less effort. And so that way, their fitness will take them further because they don't have to produce more energy. They actually use less energy to achieve the same speed. And because of the structure of the body, the center of mass tends to be lower than the center of flotation. You've got heavy legs and you've got buoyant lungs. And so the hips and the legs tend to sink. And that's what we need to place our focus on. And we need to help athletes find ways to improve their alignment and reduce drag by keeping their hips and their legs in better alignment. Reducing drag is actually a pretty big challenge. In contrast to propulsion, where it's more about doing things, reducing drag is more about not doing things, so taking away actions as opposed to adding them. And that shift in focus is a little bit uncomfortable for both coaches and swimmers. And the other issue is that these changes tend to be really subtle, and so it's hard for athletes to become aware of them and feel them, and it's also difficult for coaches to see them. And so that creates a pretty interesting dynamic where both the coach and the swimmer aren't necessarily aware of exactly what should change, but they know that things do need to change. And in contrast to propulsion, where one or two major errors is causing a major loss of propulsion, improving drag, especially once athletes are reasonably qualified swimmers, is more about a lot of little changes that add up to big performance changes rather than one to two big changes that make a big difference. And so because of these sensory issues, because of these awareness issues, and because there's a lot of small changes that need to be made, reducing drag is actually pretty difficult to do, and it doesn't respond very well to traditional instruction-related strategies. It's hard for coaches to know exactly what to change, and it's hard for swimmers to feel it. And so because of these unique challenges, we're going to have to use some unorthodox strategies in order to create the changes we want. We have to help swimmers feel these opportunities and then learn to make the adjustments. And so one of the strategies I've found to be really effective is have swimmers wear shorts. And so the reason it works is because learning is all about feedback. The more feedback they get, the faster they're going to learn. And because swimmers struggle to feel drag, wearing shorts can really magnify and make the impact of that drag on the hips really obvious. And so they can finally feel it happen when they swim. They're going to feel what drag feels like. They're going to feel it slow down their hips. They're going to feel the change in the water flowing over the hips. And that's going to help them become aware. And once they're aware, they're now empowered to create change. So the other benefit, similar to when an athlete is swimming with a closed fist and then opens their hand and they can suddenly feel everything, once the swimmer takes the shorts off, they're going to have a much better awareness of how the water is flowing over their torso, over their hips, and that can help them find better positions to move through the water. So for these reasons and the better feedback that it provides, swimming with shorts can be a really effective strategy for helping athletes learn how to reduce the drag that they're creating with their hips and their legs. When it comes to implementing this strategy, there's a lot of different ways that you can use to make the challenge more difficult and make it more interesting and keep swimmers engaged. So you can add speed. You can just have them swim faster across a range of speeds. You can add volume, make them do it for longer. You can add fatigue, make them do it when they're challenged physically and they're already under stress. You can add stroke counts. You can add stroke rates. You can do it with closed fists or when holding tennis balls. And the benefit there is that they're not going to be able to use to scull to maintain their alignment. They're going to have to figure out their alignment without the use of their hands. And you can use this during aerobic sets, pace works, or sprint work. This can be a really effective strategy when used across a range of different contexts because then athletes learn how to manage their position in a lot of different ways, and they're much more likely to figure out how to manage their position when it really matters, which is in races, because they've done so in a lot of different situations. When they're exposed to a lot of different training activities, they're going to find the solutions that work across all of them. And that's ultimately what we're looking for, is helping them learn how to feel and manage their position through the water regardless of the situation. So here's a set that demonstrates these strategies. So they're going to swim with shorts, and then they're going to swim without shorts, and they're going to do so in a bunch of different situations. This is a pretty low-key aerobic set, but it can certainly be performed during sprint work. It can certainly be performed during aerobic work as well. And so they do 425s with the shorts, take one less stroke per lap, so they have to figure out how to change their stroke count with the extra drag. And then they're going to go 3 100s freestyle, descend 1 to 3 at the same stroke count. Then a slightly different activity, freestyle with shorts again. Now they're going to change their speed 1 to 4. And again, they're going back to regular freestyle, try to find more speed at the same stroke count, but try to be faster with the shorter distances. And then we're going back to the shorts, and they're going to go descend 1 to 4 at the same stroke count, so a new challenge here. And then they're going 650s, descend at the same stroke count, go faster still. So during the 25s, they get that extra drag, and they're going to feel their position. They're going to be more aware of it, and then they try to take whatever they've learned into the freestyle, and they're being held accountable to both stroke count and speed. So during the 25s, they're getting a sensory awareness. They're becoming more aware of what's happening, but they're also trying to create performances. And then during the longer swims, they're creating performances and hopefully eliminating their drag. Over time, this type of activity can be effective in changing their body position and changing their alignment. And small things add up, especially when it comes to reducing drag.